Jason Rantz, Seattle radio talk show host, is in focus with us now. So, Jason, Senator Grassley is really pushing in and getting a lot, from the whistleblower, but also those piles of evidence that he has so many questions about.
Yeah, and I think that they're all valid questions. I think everyone would give the Justice Department sort of the benefit of the doubt, as we recognize a lot of these things take a very long time to investigate. They're nuanced, they're complicated, we get it. However, this is a federal government that has been so incredibly political. It's been politicized. It's unfair to the people who are being investigated, and it's unfair to those of us who have basic questions that deserve some sort of answer. At this point, I think Grassley's questions need to be answered. We have to know the scope of the investigation. We should know why Tony Bobulinski has not been interviewed yet by the feds. How is that possible?
Why do you think that is the case? I know you're saying, how is it possible? But how is it possible?
Well, he is either an incredibly convincing liar or he's telling the truth, right? There's only one of those that could be true. And I fear that the FBI doesn't want to investigate him or interview him because they are scared of what he might say. He's scared of the allegations that he may make, forcing the FBI to maybe investigate things that they otherwise wouldn't.
You think we've gotten that far?
I do, unfortunately. And now the onus, I think, is on the DOJ to come out and say, here's why we're not politicized. Here's what it is we're doing. It's not entirely their fault because a lot of talking heads have been talking about the politicization of the FBI and the DOJ. But at some point, that's now sort of their branding. And I do think that there's an onus on them to correct the record.
That is a fascinating and very true point, Jason. New York City subways are turning into a horror show. Well, no, they're not. They've been like that for months. Now it's just a massacre down there. It's awful. New video shows a violent shove in front of an oncoming train over the weekend. Look at this. This person doesn't even see this coming. Good Samaritans rescued the victims with just seconds to spare. Yeah, because the trains were coming. Just yesterday, a man was pushed to his death in front of an oncoming train during rush hour. Witnesses say it happened during a scuffle on the platform. Imagine having your kids with you down there while this is going on and what they see and the effect that it has on them. Yesterday's violence brings the total number of people killed in the subway system in New York to 8 for this year. And killings in the subway system are already at the highest level they've been in a quarter century, even as ridership is plummeting, continuing to plummet since the pandemic. But New York City Mayor Eric Adams still seems to think this is a perception problem. Let's watch, Jason.
We're dealing with actual crimes, those 8 homicides, and we're dealing with the perception of fear that people are feeling. That's the combination. And I must deal with that perception and the actual crime. We can't get away from the fact we have 3.5 million people using our subway system. We have to be honest about that. And those average of 6 crimes a day is not giving the impression that our system is out of control.
Unless you're one of those 6 people. What is he talking about? Hold on a second.
I mean,
the crime in the subway, transit crime is up 41.4%. And by the way, when he toggles later to guns, Jason, those 8 subway killings, we're not talking about the more than 1,000 attacks with hammers and, you shove somebody, you're using your hands, no gun there, you're still killing people. Of those at least 8 subway killings, only 2 involved guns. People are using everything but guns to kill people in the subway.
Exactly. And I feel like this is deja vu because we had this exact same conversation a few months ago where he was basically downplaying the crime and then he was forced to retract that and say, okay, yes, there actually is a crime problem. And now he's doing exactly the same thing again because we're close to the midterms and he understands that the issue of crime is benefiting the Republicans. But the fact of the matter is you are tempting fate when you take the subway because these crimes appear to be incredibly random and very sporadic. It's certainly true that we're not getting one on the hour, every day. But the fact is he doesn't have a plan to go after the random nature of this, and it's only going to get worse. Every single day that goes by without a plan is yet another day that you're closer to becoming victimized in some way. It might not be getting stabbed or getting pushed onto the platform, but we understand what is to blame here, and we can say very clearly, especially looking at the backgrounds of the people who are in fact getting popped for these crimes, they have criminal records. They should be in jail. We are releasing these people too soon. In some cases, we're not even putting them in jail at all to begin with. So we have to step up and we have to have a plan to address that. But that is political. all of these problems are political. Mayor
Yeah.
Adams knows that, and he doesn't want to jump into it at this point.
You know, two things. You said, well, the crimes aren't happening every hour. He said 6 crimes a day, right? So it's happening every 4 hours.
Yeah.
There's not much difference.
Yeah, I mean, his argument, it's such a disingenuous argument because he's basically saying, well, there's not a crime happening right now and 10 seconds from now and 10 seconds from then. No, but we don't need to have crime every second for it to be a serious issue that is causing serious concern and consternation.
Well, and I've heard you say time and time again on this program that the more recidivism there is out there among these criminals, the more they get practiced at hurting and killing and robbing and all of that, that they too have life goals. They get better at it. And it makes them harder to fight.
They escalate.
Jason Rantz, thank you for being in focus.
Thanks, Harris.